Thank you Rize for sponsoring today's video. Alright, so we're skipping this week's cinematic, and that's because I've been wanting to address an issue that's been going on lately, and that has to do with the comment section. There's a lot of scammers, and a lot of you guys have been getting scammed, and I know because a lot of you send Twitter messages, Instagram messages, emails, and it really sucks for you guys. Again, like I've told literally everyone, guys, in the description down below is our only forms of contact: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and my email. That is literally it, so please guys, stay safe. If you guys see in the comment section down below Andres Vidoza 2, Andres Vidoza official, that all lead to like a Telegram chat or WhatsApp chat, ignore them. I will never ask you for money. Like if you win a giveaway, I'm never gonna ask you to send me money so I can ship you the product. That is literally not how it works. I know these type of videos tend to get views every time we talk about MacBooks, so I really wanted to talk about it in this video. And the same goes for any other channel out there. If you guys see those comments, ignore them. I know MKBHD has addressed this on his channel, so I really wanted to do my part, and I apologize for those who have been getting scammed. Again, guys, please stay safe. We pretty much purposely didn't record a cinematic today just so I could announce this. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I genuinely believe this is one of those videos that will help you out. Look, I've been a MacBook Air M2 and a 14-inch MacBook Pro user ever since they came out, and my workflow consists of one being used for content creation and when we travel, and the other one for browsing the net and coding. Up to now, I think I very much know this whole hardware inside out. I brought this to New York the other day to make sure I got all my Bose content done, and lately I've been slowly diving into iOS development with the Air, and honestly, the more and more I push both laptops, the more and more I realize these indeed never disappoint. But each and every one of these laptops are meant for a specific subset of individuals. Let me explain what I mean by that. Price point is a good factor we should start with, and I know a lot of you guys like me once thought maybe I should sell the Pro and get the Air. Well, it's not that easy, as these laptops are truly different, and I've realized this from experience with these builds. We are comparing a base model M1 Pro MacBook Pro to a base model M2 MacBook Air. Two laptops that, other than delivering different hardware, deliver different colors depending on what you want. It's like one is trying to be more professional than the other. All I can say is that out of all of these colors, I would personally avoid the midnight blue and space gray. I think silver is the most appealing, stays super clean, and looks so good. Don't get me wrong, the midnight is gorgeous, but genuinely, I think this will age badly with scuffs, and let's not forget that it's a fingerprint magnet all around. As for space gray, well, it's just a boring color in my opinion. Regardless of the colors, both chassis are slightly different, and I love the new routiness design Apple is trying to tackle with these, mainly because the chunkiness of both laptops makes me feel safer when bringing these around. I know one is around 11.3mm thin and the other is about 15.5mm thin, but even at 11mm, the fact that the Air weighs 1.24 kilograms with this non-thin chassis makes it feel more durable. The same goes for the Pro at 1.6 kilograms. For travel, honestly, they both feel perfect. All you need to know is that one feels a tiny bit heavier than the other and a bit chunkier. That's it. If that's an issue for you, first go to an Apple store and try weighing these, and second, ask yourself if you're okay with giving up that larger screen. It's a battle between a 13.6 inch and a 14.2 inch screen that literally just has three noticeable differences: peak nits, ProMotion, and the fact that one is XDR and the other one isn't. For reference, I'll leave the definitions of Liquid Retina versus Liquid Retina XDR on screen right now, but from experience, that is literally the only thing I've realized with both screens. Now that we get a notch on both of them, I don't feel like the Pro is that much larger than the Air. I mean, it's slightly nicer getting more screen resolution with ProMotion, but it shouldn't be a big deal breaker. Heck, I code with the Air, and even though I used to code with the Pro, I don't notice the difference that much. To be honest, if ever, the biggest deal breaker for me is dual screen support. Thankfully, I got these Satechi adapters to help me out with that when it comes to the Air, but with the Pro, out of the box, dual monitors will work. I know this can be a huge pain for programmers and even Excel users, so guys, just keep that in mind. Overall, one laptop only provides 2 Thunderbolt ports and the other, well, 3 Thunderbolt ports, an HDMI port, and an SDXC card slot. Yes, it's a lot better, but I appreciate Apple for implementing MagSafe on both models, leaving your Thunderbolt 4 ports free to use, which I've been finding super nice.
Honestly, on my end, I don't find myself using the HDMI port that much or even lacking USB-C ports, but I once wanted to connect my laptop to a TV to stream my F1 TV app, and without a dongle, it was super nice. I do want to mention that looking at these from the bottom, you can see a slight different design. One of course has exhaust grills and the other one doesn't, but they do have the same rubber feet. So when you want to open the lid one-handed, trust me, these do not slide backwards. Students and people that need to get up and running quickly with a coffee in their hand, you'll be good. Okay, now I know we slightly talked about the screen, but look at this. There's barely any difference in screen wobble between these two. Even though their hinges literally feel the same, the tiny difference in wobble happens because of the size of the Pro's screen. No matter which laptop I use, whether it's on my lap or on a table, this is honestly not that noticeable from a point of view. Don't spend time overthinking this part of your purchase. Oh, and if you do end up getting the M2, don't forget to go into the settings, display, and scale it down to get the sharpest image. With this, overall, look at how much room you get on VS Code with the 14 Pro compared to the M2 Air. And the same can be said about Excel with this sample template I got. Is that difference worth it for you? Let me know down below. For me, not really, but I do have to say, watching Netflix on this larger XDR screen is nicer, although definitely not a must. The blacks are definitely perfect on the Pro compared to the Air, plus as a whole, the bezels on the Pro are slightly thinner, however, not the notch. Altogether guys, from experience, as much as I like the Pro screen, boys and girls, I promise you, if you do end up getting the M2 Air, you won't regret getting it because of the screen. If you do, the only valid reason would be peak nits when you are working in super bright environments. Also, visually, inside both laptops, I think the biggest and most noticeable difference is the keyboard. Both laptops have the exact same keyboard, which includes key size, travel, and even sound. The only difference between both is that one keyboard rests on this black looking encasing. I do want to point out that after long periods of typing sessions, I get annoyed with either model because I do find it digs into my wrist from time to time. As for the trackpad, if you are like me and you hate increasing mouse sensitivity for better cursor travel, just note that the Pro does have a slightly larger trackpad and it does sound a bit different. From experience, I do find myself liking the slightly larger format on the Pro, and weirdly enough, when I hop back into the Air, it is something I realize. I guess I'm a bit weird like that, but yeah. One thing that I'm personally not a fan of is the speakers now being positioned between the hinges, more specifically under the keyboard. It doesn't make the keyboard rattle or anything like that, by the way, but I do like the fact that the Pro still has it on the keyboard chassis, as I feel like sound travels way better. Yeah, the Pro speakers with those 6 speakers and force cancelling woofers just blows it out of the water.
A quick checkup on you guys. I just want to make you realize that up to now, most of these differences are geared towards like maybe UI UX designers or music production, photographers, video editing. Just want you guys to keep that in mind.
When it comes to the camera, I'm pretty happy to say that, well, both of these are sort of completely different, and it's not that the Pro is better than the Air, they just deliver different images.
I particularly chose this spot so we can like see the colors, so we can compare both laptops, and either or, in my opinion, it's perfectly fine. It's just that they have a bit of different colors.
As you probably realize, the mics sound perfectly fine on either or, so for work and working remotely, both of these laptops are just perfect. I do wish we had center stage on the Pro though. Battery life, oh boy do I know about battery life. Both laptops are the best in the business, and let me tell you why. Both laptops are base models. There's a lot less power they need to output if you were to upgrade their CPUs and GPUs. Sometimes I leave the Air and Pro in the husky drawers for multiple days without charging, and somehow they are always still alive. I also find myself leaving the Air in the trunk of my car because I like coding at home, and again, somehow it's always charged. When you are not touching these laptops all that much, the battery life of both are amazing. However, on my end, when it comes to the M2 Air and coding, you do start seeing some juice running out quicker. It's super normal. I'd say on average, with all of the use I do when it comes to the Air, I get about 8 to 12 hours. It's still really good, and it mainly has to do with the fact that the new efficiency cores can deliver more power with less battery. You can clearly see that with the CPU and GPU wattage numbers. When it comes to the MacBook Pro, because it's my content creation laptop, literally the laptop we brought to NYC to film the Porsche and many of the things we do outside of the studio, the Pro delivers around 4 to 7 hours of use. It's quite normal since it's a machine that constantly uses its fans, CPU, and memory management and continuously stress tests its GPU. It's a laptop to use for performance gains. Outside of pushing both laptops like crazy for regular work and even Excel use, you will find yourself with crazy hours like 12 to 15 hours of use. They both truly are phenomenal for that, and I preach either or. If you happen to be a productivity freak like me, I suggest you install Rize on your MacBooks. Rize is a desktop app that automatically tracks and categorizes the time you spend on certain websites and apps, which you can imagine as to why I like having this on my MacBooks. It helps you understand where your time is being spent with the help of some analytics and insights so you can improve your focus and build better work habits. I am someone that likes to track their days and activities because it makes me decide which tasks I want to work on next, and so for me, being aware of how my time is being spent is essential to get work done. But Rize just makes things super easy within their dashboard. Not only it is able to intelligently track my app use within the background, but it's able to categorize my workflow by letting me know what I tend to do the most. I do get distracted sometimes, and that clearly shows within the entertainment category, but the big picture can always be seen within the timeline. If you step away from the computer for more than like 5 minutes, the app can track time for you, and that's where these black blocks appear. The rest simply shows time being spent on the computer, whether that's focusing on work, meetings, and so on. I do like tagging sessions with a project tag so I know how much time I spend doing a particular thing, such as coding. The app overall makes it super easy to visualize how your day was spent, and I totally recommend checking out the link down below and use my code AndresVidoza to be the first 1,000 people to get 25% off your first 3 months with a Rize. Just don't forget that Rize additionally provides a 14-day free trial so you can test things out before buying the product.
I just had a quick idea, so I literally just changed like the performance part of this video, but I wanted to load a big data file on Excel using both laptops and see how long that takes. And then we're gonna hop on the MacBook Air. I'm just gonna play with Excel a bit just to show you guys that it's pretty much able to do it all. Okay, maybe not all, but like most of it, like a big chunk.
The file that I decided to load was 13 megabytes, which for data this represents about 500,000 rows, and all I wanted to do was load them with both laptops. The MacBook Pro did load the table about twice as fast, and note that to simulate a real world case scenario, I had a bunch of tabs open running within their backgrounds. So interestingly enough, this made me wonder how well can I push the Air on Excel. With a file like this, you can do all sorts of things like quickly generate pivot tables, sort your rows and columns super quickly. Also, I created a table, formatted it, which was a tiny bit slow at times, and with a newly created row called country, I was able to associate every single location code to a country in order to show you guys how well XLOOKUP works, and it worked super well. There's also using shortcuts for simple sums, which works very nicely and generates it fast. I also used my newly generated row to calculate my cost for Canada with their if function, and it does it with ease. Oh yeah, and I forgot to show you guys how easy it is to generate a pivot chart. Honestly, chilling at home with the Air truly makes me realize how perfect this laptop is. It's the laptop I find myself mostly browsing the web with, watching YouTube videos, managing my banking, budgeting on Excel, planning on Notion, and even watching Netflix. It's also the laptop I used to be able to get some programming work done. I did make a review for programmers, so go check that out. By the way, it can get quite hot after extensive hours depending what you are coding. It's overall the ideal laptop, and I'd say almost perfect for programmers and Excel use. However, I do recommend that if you do Excel intensively for long periods of time and you do mobile development quite a lot, maybe look into getting 16 gigabytes of RAM for it. Just know that at that price, you almost start getting into MacBook Pro 14-inch territory. Look, the 14-inch Pro is such an amazing laptop with lots of power. It's basically all the things the MacBook Air can do and even more, but it's a laptop that is truly meant for a specific number of people, especially for creators. That's the vibe I get every time I find myself using it. Apart from when I need the power to work, it's not my daily. Ever since the M2 MacBook Air came out, it replaced the Pro really quickly, but there are so many things within my life that the Air cannot do. For starters, video editing super heavy files from my Sony Alpha A7S Mark III, doing some light Photoshop when creating thumbnails after opening files from Lightroom, handling a bunch of heavy programs at the same time. There are so many things that the Air can't deliver, especially when now having a slower SSD module. And yes, it's something I've very much realized even with my 8GB model. It is noticeably slower compared to the old MacBook Air. Look, I'm not a numbers guy, but if we were to compare numbers, overall, on paper, those extra 2 performance cores the 14 has show on Geekbench. But weirdly enough, the M2 beats the 14-inch in single core scores. And when it comes to web applications and web browsing, the M2 MacBook Air is apparently better than the 14-inch Pro. But in real life, these numbers mean so little. Heck, these numbers don't even reflect my experience with them. To me, for regular use, they both literally deliver the same experience aside from the physical upgrades the Pro has. For web development tasks, both are great. If you truly want to see a difference, start playing with mobile applications, run different emulators, edit heavy codecs on Premiere, and tweak your pictures on Photoshop. That's how, performance-wise, you'll truly see your return on investment, other than the fact that one laptop overheats a lot less frequently than the other. Look, as a whole, I know we probably have new MacBook Pros coming, but even at that, it doesn't change the fact that for most people and most students, the M2 MacBook Air is a perfect choice. Heck, I'd even recommend checking out the M1 MacBook Air. If I was back in uni studying engineering and computer science, I'd go with an Air any day of the week, unless I'm heavily invested into mobile development or even data analysis with heavy Excel and Python use. I hope this video helps. I will be reviewing the next generation of Pros within the upcoming weeks. I just really want you guys to buy the proper laptops. I will see you all soon. Take care.